Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys?
Good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I'm also good. खुद अरू त को बोल्दैन अन्त दिपेश आशिष अनि अर्चना अरूतिर खबर ठिक छ अपलोड गर्यो सबैजनाले have you ever uploaded your slides all of you guys uploaded or not Swaroop Shekhar Sharishma are you uploaded your slides Ivan Ramon गर्यो हैन सबैजनाले गरिहाल है चाँडोभन्दा चाँडो यसलाई चाहिँ अपलोड गरिहाल है अब चाहिँ ओके अब नाउ के गरौँ अटेन्डेन्स लिउँ कि अलिक थोरै आइरहेको छ एब्सेन्ट छ कि एकछिनमा होला अब डाइरेक्टली के गरौँ यो टपिक सुरु गरौँ अनि देन आफ्टर हामी पढ्दैछौँ है त फिस्कल monetary mix and it's another interesting topic and this theory is also known as ISLM model right? It's a modern theory of interest as well and how the ISLM model determine income and the interest rate in short run price is fixed. How ISLM model simply IS curve represents the fiscal policy and the LM curve represents the monetary policy. And IS curve represents fiscal policy and LM curve represents monetary policy. In other words, IS curve simply reflects the goods market equilibrium and LM curve reflects the money market equilibrium. IS curve simply represents goods market means saving and investment related with saving investment and all, but the LM curve represents the money demand and money supply. Now let's move with slides. In the long run, price is flexible, output determined by factors of production and technology, unemployment equals its natural rate, and in the short run, price fixed, output determined by aggregate demand, unemployment, and unemployment negatively related to output. Now see, these are the cases. Okay, अब now see fiscal monetary mix भन्नको चाहिँ ISLM model simply reflect the के भयो भन्दाखेरि fiscal policy and monetary policy. I already told you IS curve represents के भयो fiscal policy or IS curve represents goods market equilibrium or LM curve represents money market equilibrium. यही कुराहरू हो कि LM curve भनेको चाहिँ के छ money market छ it is related with money demand and money supply. Okay, we are building our examples confined to closed economy. Just we assume the closed economy like aggregate expenditure is equal to C plus I plus J. We can use the ISLM model to see how fiscal policy GNT affect the aggregate demand and output. G means government expenditure, T means taxation. It simply means that fiscal policy instruments are okay. These are the fiscal policy instruments of the there. Now see this figure shows the aggregate demand equals to C plus I plus GL aggregate demand हुन्छ this red color demand now, now this one is aggregate supply curve 45 income curve generally which is 45 degree 45 degree okay see that अनि AE equals to YA income र GDP र aggregate supply intersect हुने बित्तिकै के भयो which determine the equilibrium level of income and the planned expenditure हामी यही कुरा determine गर्ने equilibrium case ma बुझ्यो कुरा. Now see, when the government expenditure increases, यसरी government expenditure बढ्यो भने के भयो त? Increase भयो भने then income also increases. यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर मल्टिप्लायर पनि भन्ने बुझ्छ क्या हामीले. बुझ्यो? यसलाई नै के भन्ने रहेछ? हेर त यति डेल्टा जी चेन्ज हुँदा यति धेरै डेल्टा वाईमा चेन्ज हुन्छ. इट इज कल्ड गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर मल्टिप्लायर. यही हो गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर मल्टिप्लायरको हामी यसलाई हामी के भन्छ यो जुन फर्मुला छ नि डेल्टा वाई बाई डेल्टा जी इक्वल्स टू यो फर्मुला छ यसलाई हामी जस्तो यहाँ पनि हेर न यो जुन डेल्टा यो छ नि यो डेल्टा जी को पार्ट यो र डेल्टा वाई को पार्ट यो यसलाई यही यो जुन स्मल गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर लिड्स टु हायर लेभल अफ नेसनल इन्कम भनेर के यसलाई हामी गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर मल्टिप्लायर बुझ्यो होइन कुरा. That's the case के यसलाई भन्नु. Okay, अब now यहाँनिर हेर न why the multiplier is greater than 1. Initially the increase in G भनेको गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर कजेज एन्ड यो जी भनेको के रहेछ गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर कजेज एन्ड इक्वल इन्क्रिज इन वाई भनेको मतलब यहाँ अनि यो भनेको चाहिँ सपोज हाम्रो इन्कम इक्वल्स टु एक्सपेन्डिचर छ चेन्ज इन इन्कम इक्वल्स टु चेन्ज इन गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर त्यो चाहिँ के भयो त भन्दा बट डेल्टा वाई इज ग्रेटर देन के भयो त डेल्टा सी भन्न खोजेको वेन इन्कम इन्क्रिजेज यो माथिको पार्ट सकेपछि वेन इन्कम इन्क्रिजेज कन्जम्सन अल्सो इन्क्रिजेज भयो. मान्छेको इन्कम बढ्यो भने के हुन्छ कन्जम्सन पनि बढ्छ. यो कन्जम्सन बढेपछि के हुन्छ थाहा छ अब जस्तो हामी सबैजनाले कुनै क्यान्टिनको समोसा खाइदियो हाम्रै कलेजको क्यान्टिनको समोसा धेरै खायो भने उसले समोसा बनाउने मान्छे पनि ल्याउँछ कि भनेपछि अर्को मान्छेको इन्कम बढ्छ क्या त्यसले बढ्यो कि बढेन त्यो अनि उसको इन्कम बढ्नु भनेको उसको कन्जम्सन पनि बढ्छ कि फेरि अनि त्यस्तै ऊ जस्तै अरू सबैले फेरि खर्च गर्यो भने फेरि इन्कम बढ्छ कि यसलाई भन्छ कि फाइनल इम्प्याक्ट अफ इन्कम भनेको यो चाहिँ के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर यस्तो बुझ्यो कुरा. अब इट इज अल अबाउट मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट यही हो मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट. अब न अब बिफोर द्याट आइएस कर्पमा जानुभन्दा अगाडि एटेन्डेन्स गरौँ न है. गाइज रेडी फर द एटेन्डेन्स. एलेक्स विष्ट. यस एलेक्स. अर्चना.
Present, sir.
Ashish. Dipesh. Ivan. Jeju. Marina. Ninju. Nishan. Ojashwi. Prakriti. Prashamsha. Robin. Raman. Ratna. Rebishan. Ritij. Riwaj. Gurnim. Sham.
Yes, sir.
Selna. Okay. Selina. Sharishma. Shikhar. Smith.
Yes, sir. Sir, Probin ni present.
को भने प्रवीण
हजुर.
के ओके ओके. अनि स्वरूप युनेश 16% हो र ओके यस 16% ओके ओके यस ह्यान्ड रेज गर्छ अनि लो चाहिँ गर्दै गर्दैन है तिमीहरू गर्नुपर्ने मास्टर ओके यस ओके ल हामी अब यताबाट जाउँ है त एटेन्डेन्स सकायो अनि आई थिङ्क अब त सबैजनाले गर्यो होला होइन यो सेक्सन त सबैले गर्यो होला नि अब सबमिसन गरिसकेको छैन
के को सर
प्रेजेन्टेसनको असाइनमेन्ट स्लाइड सबमिट गरेन भने म फेरि 0 मार्क्स राखिदिन्छु है त्यो बेलामा अलिकति ध्यान दियो सञ्चय जोशीको यो क्लासको अर्को पैसा आयो अब यहाँबाट
सर हाम्रो चाहिँ त्यो बजेटको है
यहाँ है म भनिदिन्छु अर्चना अशेष दिपेश वेन होइन गरिसकेको है गर्नेहरू है यिनीहरू सबैजना जिजु अनि मेरिना निन्जु निशान ओजस्वी प्रकृति बजाडे गरेको छैन है प्रकृति तिमीले सबमिसन गरे होला त्यो स्लाइड तिमी कुन ग्रुपमा थियो प्रकृति अनि पिके प्रवीण तिम्रो खोइ त पहिलाको स्लाइड्स खोइ गरे
बजेटको हो सर हाम्रो
बजेटको त्यो गरिहाल्नु है
म गरिदिनु लागेको
ओके ल त्यो गर अनि लगभग तिमीहरूको सेक्सन चाहिँ सबै छ अर्कोलाई चाहिँ मैले भने पाएको छैन आधी उधी मात्र छ उनीहरूको चाहिँ रितिज छैन तिम्रो रिवाज छैन नो सबमिसन सबैजनाले गर सेम त्यो उनीहरू त्यो बजेटको हो भने त्यही ग्रुपबाट शेखर छैन ड्राफ्ट नट सबमिटेड भन्ने चाहिँ यहाँनिर स्मिथ साकेको नो सबमिसन छ के भयो गरेको तिम्रो स्मिथ तिम्रो सबमिसन जस्तो पनि देख्छ है फाइल पनि देख्छ तर ड्राफ्ट नट सबमिटेड भन्ने देखाइरहेछ तर के गरे
म सबमिट गरिरहेको त्यही भएर त्यस्तो देखाएको
ए ओके त्यस्तो भयो हो ओके ल गुड त्यसो ल है त बुझ्यो यहाँबाट तिमीहरूको सेक्सनबाट एक दुईजना मात्र बाँकी छ गरिहाल है त ओके ल अब लेट्स मुभ विथ आइएस कर्व अब हामी आइएस कर्वमै जाउँ डेफिनेसन अफ आइएस कर्व हेर न डेफिनेसनमा a graph of all combinations of R and Y that results in goods market यसलाई चाहिँ हामी के भन्छ आइएस कर्वको कुरा गर्छ The graph of all combination of rate of interest and income that results in goods market equilibrium यसलाई नि आइएस कर्व भन्छ अनि एक्चुअल एक्सपेन्डिचर आउटपुट प्लान एक्सपेन्डिचर the equation for the IS curve is y is equal to c plus I plus g okay यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ IS curve को कुरा गर्छ and now this is the process यसलाई यो फिगर हो IS curve को फिगर यहाँ यो भयो खासै म तिमीलाई चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिस गराउँदैन किन भन्दा हामीलाई खासै एक्जाममा काम छैन म थोरै बुझ्ने मात्र हो हैन। यहाँ हेर्नु न, यो डेल्टा आईमा चेन्ज भएपछि हाम्रो वाईमा पनि यसरी चेन्ज भयो। अनि वाई र आईको यो जुन इक्विलिब्रियम छ त्यो इक्विलिब्रियम हाम्रो तल्लो फिगरमा यहाँ भयो। अनि अर्को इक्विलिब्रियम यहाँ आयो, त्यो इक्विलिब्रियम पनि हाम्रो यो दुईटा भयो। बाई जोइनिङ दिस टु इक्वेसन वी गेट द आइएस कर्भ। त्यही भएर हाम्रो आइएस कर्भ भएको क्या। द प्रोसिजर यसरी हो हाम्रो बुझाएन कुरा। ओके, वाइ द आइएस कर्भ इज नेगेटिभली स्लोप्ड। आइएस कर्भ किन नेगेटिभ स्लोप हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि a fall in the interest rate motivates the firm to increase the investment spending, which derives of total planned spending aggregate expenditure, and to restore the equilibrium in the goods market equilibrium. And actual expenditure why must increase. These are the critics. And now shift. आइएस कसरी शिफ्ट हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि हामीले यो के भयो त भन्दाखेरि पहिला G1बाट G2मा हाम्रो अगाडि चाहिँ के भएको थाहा छ, हाम्रो दुईटा पोइन्ट आउने भनेको चाहिँ यहाँ रेट अफ इन्ट्रेस्टमा चेन्ज भएको R1 र R2 मात्र यहाँ चेन्ज छ, त्यो भएकोले गर्दा त्यस्तो भएको थियो होइन। तर अहिले चाहिँ के भयो त भन्दा गभर्मेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर नै चेन्ज आयो, त्यो भएर चाहिँ G2 यो के भन्छ C प्लस I प्लस G2 हो त C प्लस I प्लस G1 हो। 1बाट 2मा यसरी चेन्ज भयो, त्यही भएर यो आइएस कर्भ यसरी सिफ्ट भयो क्या। दिस इज द केस। हामीलाई यस्तो बुझ्ने हो आइएस कर्भको बारे। Now money supply भन्ने चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ, which is supplied by the monetary authority, which is constant के constant हुन्छ कि जहिले पनि बुझ्यो नि, constant हुन्छ। त्यही भएर जेनरली मनी सप्लाई constant। ओके स्वरूप अब भन्न सकायो। त्यही भएर हेरेर त मनी सप्लाईको कर्भ यस्तो हाम्रो प्यारलल विथ के भयो त वाइ एक्सिस भयो कि यस्तो बुझ्यो होला नि तिमीले, बुझ्यो। यो मनी सप्लाईको केस हो पहिला, बुझ्यो होला नि। यसलाई भन्छ के मनी सप्लाईको केस। दिज आर द केसेस। यसरी हामी बुझ्नुपर्छ मनी सप्लाई भने प्यारलल वाइ एक्सिस हुन्छ कि यस्तो। अब नाउ मनी डिमान्डको लागि मनी आइदर होल्ड बोन्ड्स, मनी बोन्ड्स डिमान्ड फर रियल मनी ब्यालेन्सेसको कुराहरू होइन यसरी। अब नाउ यहाँसम्म भयो आइएस कर्भ। आइएस कर्भ भने गुड्स मार्केट इक्विलिब्रियमको केस। अब नाउ लेट्स मुभ विथ एलएम कर्भ। नाउ अब एलएम कर्भ भनेको मनी डिमान्ड र मनी सप्लाईको केस हो कि। हेर न, डेफिनेसन यहाँ तल छ पढ्दा ल। द एलएम कर्भ इज द ग्राफ अफ अल द कम्बिनेसन अफ आर एन्ड वाइ। यो आइएस पनि यही थियो, एलएम पनि त्यही हो कि। रेट अफ इन्ट्रेस्ट एन्ड इन्कमको कम्बिनेसन्सलाई एलएम कर्भ भन्छ। सीधा दिस इज द फिगर अफ एलएम कर्भ। हेर त यो मनी सप्लाई यहाँनिर के छ, कन्स्ट्यान्ट छ होइन। मनी सप्लाई यस्तै कन्स्ट्यान्ट यहाँनिर हो, बुझ्यो होला नि। यो भनेको मनी सप्लाई हो, कन्स्ट्यान्ट छ। अनि पहिला त यहाँ इक्विलिब्रियम छ, अनि त्यस पछाडि यहाँ इक्विलिब्रियम छ। यही इक्विलिब्रियमको सिधा लाइन तान्यो, यहाँ इक्विलिब्रियम भयो। अनि यहाँबाट अर्को इक्विलिब्रियम आउँछ, अर्को इक्विलिब्रियम भयो। अनि बाई जोइनिङ दिस टु पोइन्ट वी गेट एलएम कर्भ। यस्तै आउने हो कि एलएम कर्भ। बुझ्यो होइन कुरा? दस। अब एलएम कर्भ सिफ्ट हुनु पर्यो भने यसरी मनी सप्लाईमा यसरी हेर न, यहाँबाट यसरी आयो नि, यो सिफ्ट भयो मनी सप्लाई। त्यही भएर एलएम कर्भ पनि यहाँ एलएम 1बाट एलएम 2मा सिफ्ट भयो यस्तै। बुझ्यो होइन कुरा? And why the LM curve is upward sloping. Now here, these are किन रहेछ पढ त, go to the slides. Why the LM curve is upward sloping and an increase in income rises the money demand. And since the supply of real balance is fixed and there is now excess demand in the money market at the initial interest rate. And the interest rate must rise to reach to the equilibrium in the money market. That's the case. Yeah, it's a good case. Okay, see, short run equilibrium. अब कसरी हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि by the interaction between IS and LM curve. IS र LM curve को intersection ले के हुन्छ त रेट अफ इन्ट्रेस्ट र यो हुन्छ र ISLM भनेको यति मात्र यसरी हामीले ब्रोडली फिगरमा डेभलप गर्ने हो भने यसरी पनि IS र LM को इक्विलिब्रियम दैट डिटरमाइन द इक्विलिब्रियम रेट अफ इन्ट्रेस्ट एन्ड द इक्विलिब्रियम लेभल अफ इन्कम यसरी डिटरमाइन हुन्छ बुझ्यो हैन नाउ IS कर्व शिफ्ट भयो यसरी गयो LM कर्व पनि शिफ्ट भयो यसरी गयो यहाँ यो के भन्छ यो LM कर्व शिफ्ट हो यहाँ चाहिँ मनी सप्लाईको चेन्जेस भयो भने यसरी इन्क्रिज भयो भने राइटवार्ड डिक्रिज भयो भने लेफ्टवार्ड शिफ्ट हुन्छ अनि अब अगाडिमा चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरि हामी IS कर्व मात्र शिफ्ट थियो LM कर्व चेन्जेस थियो हैन यहाँ चाहिँ के भयो त LM कर्व शिफ्ट हुन्छ IS कर्व कन्स्ट्यान्ट नि वान थिङ इज रिमेम्बर के यो IS कर्व शिफ्ट हुने मेन रिजनहरु भन्ने चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि IS कर्व शिफ्ट भनेको फिस्कल पोलिसी के ट्याक्समा अथवा गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचरमा चेन्ज भयो भने IS कर्व शिफ्ट हुन्छ अनि मनी डिमान्ड र मनी सप्लाईमा चेन्ज भयो भने चाहिँ LM कर्व शिफ्ट हुन्छ न that's the case fiscal monetary mix मा summary of liquidity preference ISLM मोडल हैन यसरी नै हामी जान्दै deficit financing हरु after that we completed the के भयो भन्दा ISLM कर्व पनि सिकियो यहाँसम्म के क्वेशन छ हेर त सजिलो छ वास्तवमा त ISLM थोरै रिभाइज गरिदिन्छु ल मैले IS कर्व भने के रहेछ गुड्स मार्केट इक्विलिब्रियम LM कर्व भन्ने मनी मार्केट इक्विलिब्रियम यसरी नै ओके मैले तिमीहरुको कुन स्लाइड राखिसकेको छु याद छ कुन स्लाइड सम्म राखेको छु मैले कति युनिट कति सम्म राखेको छु हेर त उसमा अनि डेफिसिट फाइनान्सिङ भन्ने चाहिँ के थाहा छ गभर्नमेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर इज ग्रेटर देन रेभिन्यू भयो भने त्यसलाई हामी डेफिसिट फाइनान्सिङ भन्छ के एक्सपेन्डिचर धेरै इन्कम थोरै छ गभर्नमेन्टको यही हो डेफिसिट फाइनान्सिङ भन्छ अब यस्तो बेलामा गभर्नमेन्टले के गर्छ यही कुरा हेर त ल गभर्नमेन्ट डेफिसिट is the annual difference between government outlays and received. Government budget constraint identifies the financial options open to the government. Government अनि total government expenditure को कुरा अनि total government revenue from taxes अनि change in public debt यसरी हामीले गर्छ change in money. यो कुरा त आफै हेरेर यो खासै त्यस्तो हेर्नुपर्ने कुरा त हैन हामीले डेफिसिट फाइनान्सिङ कसरी हामी सोलुसन हुन्छ भन्दा दिज आर द रिजन्स के गभर्नमेन्ट डेफिसिट फाइनान्सिङ थ्रु द फलोइङ सोर्सेस पहिला त विथड्रल फ्रम पास्ट एक्युमुलेटेड ब्यालेन्स पहिलाको सेभिङ निकाल्नु पर्यो पब्लिक बोरोइङ जनतासँग लोन लिनु पर्यो बोरोइङ फ्रम सेन्ट्रल बैंक यहाँबाट लिनु पर्यो त्यो पनि भएन भने इस्यु न्यू करेन्सी नयाँ पैसा छाप्नु पर्यो अनि अथवा बाहिरबाट लोन लिनु पर्यो अथवा फोर्स सेभिङ गर्नु पर्यो that's the case Bye. Okay. Now, deficit financing why there is a need for deficit financing किन गर्नुपर्छ त्यो भन्दाखेरि deficit financing पनि राम्रो हो पहिला त किन भन्दा आर्गुमेन्ट द रेट अफ नेट इन्भेस्टमेन्टको इन्क्रिजको लागि डेभलपमेन्ट अफ इकोनोमिक इस्युज कन्ट्रोल अफ इकोनोमिक रिसेसनको लागि रिकन्स्ट्रक्सन अफ द इकोनोमीको लागि आर्गुमेन्ट द इन्क्रिज द कम्युनिटी सेभिङको लागि होइन यस्तै वार फाइनेन्सिङ म्यानेजमेन्टको लागि होइन यस्तो कुराहरू बुझ्यो होइन कुरा यही हो डिपोजिट फाइनेन्सिङको रिजन अब इफेक्ट के हुन्छ त इफेक्टमा डिपोजिट फाइनेन्सिङ भयो भने इन्फ्लेसन हुन्छ धेरै प्राइस बढ्ने चान्स हुन्छ कि अर्को क्राउडिङ आउट इफेक्ट प्राइभेट इन्भेस्टमेन्टहरू आउट हुने चान्स हुन्छ अर्को ब्यालेन्स अफ पेमेन्टमा डिफिकल्टिज हुन्छ अनि इन्क्रिज डेप्ट सर्भिसिङको कुरा पनि हुन्छ द्याट्स द केस अब एरियर्स हुन्छ यसलाई पास्ट एक्युमुलेटेड डेप्ट इज क्यान नट बी रिपेड बिकज अफ द इन्क्रिज डेफिसिट होइन इट कज द इनइफिसियन्सी एन्ड लस अफ क्रेडिबिलिटी कहिलेका हाम्रो यो एरियर्स भनेको चाहिँ हाम्रो इमान्दारिता जान सक्छ क्या तिर्न सक्दैन टाइममा भने विश्वास गुम्न सक्छ भने ट्याक्स बढाउनु पर्ने हुनसक्छ होइन दिज आर द कन्डिसन यस्तै दिज आर द इफेक्ट अब नाउ पब्लिक डेप्ट म्यानेजमेन्ट भन्ने चाहिँ के नि इट्स भेरी सिम्पल के यो भनेको रिपेमेन्ट अफ डेप्ट भनेको गभर्मेन्टको डेप्टलाई रिपेमेन्ट गर्नु भनेको इट्स अ पब्लिक डेप्ट यसरी नै हामी जाउँ यो त आफै हेर अब सबैजनाले इन्टर्नल डेप्ट एक्सटर्नल डेप्ट भने के हो हेर्न सक्छ नोट फर यु आफ्नै नोटहरू हेर्दै जाऊ तिमीलाई नोट्सहरू दिएको यो आइएमएफ गाइडलाइन्सहरू यो आफू हेर्नु पर्दैन हामीले सर हेर यो चाहिँ आइएमएफको पुरानो गाइडलाइन्स हो है यहाँसम्म ओके बुझ्यो होला नि ल अब भन्नु ठिक छ बुझ्यो होला नि सबै कुराहरू यही मात्र हो यस्तो यस्तो कुराहरू आफ्टर द्याट वी कम्प्लिटेड द सिलेबस हाम्रो सिलेबस यस्तै यस्तै छ म अब थोरै नेक्स्ट क्लासमा अलिकति अब कन्सेप्चुअली सिलेबस त होइन कन्सेप्चुअली चाहिने इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुराहरू हो त्यो कुराहरू मात्रै केही छ भने त्यसमा भन्नु ओके तिमीहरूको क्लास पनि हेर लगभग लास्ट भयो मैले तिमीलाई पढाउने यति मात्रै हो अब योभन्दा पछाडि म पढाउँदिनँ पनि किनभने मैले पढाउनु भनेको माइक्रो र म्याक्रो इकोनोमिक्स मात्रै हो अनि थ्याङ्क यू फर यर कोअपरेसन सबैजनाले मलाई कोअपरेट गर्यो खुसी लाग्यो है थ्याङ्क यू अल आज क्लास छोड्ने भन्न चाहिँ होइन है फेरि कोर्स चाहिँ कम्प्लिट भयो तर म क्लास चाहिँ हामी पढ्छ है त फेरि बुझ्यो होइन
हुन्छ
अनि त्यही अनुसारले पढ्दै जाउँ ल अब हामी अर्को विकमा त्यो तिमीहरूको सेक्सनले सबै गरिहाल्यो अब अर्को सेक्सनले पनि गर्यो भनेदेखि अनि हामी टाको टुक्को पार्न मिल्छ कि त्यसपछि
ओके सर
बुझ्यो नि कुरा अब के नयाँ टपिक्स त हामी नेक्स्ट क्लासदेखि नै जाउँला हुँदैन के भन्छ ल भन्नु
सर
छोरी अब धेरै छैन अनि त्यही भएर थोरै जाउँ केही क्वेसन्सहरू छ केही प्रब्लम छ भने भन म तिमीलाई स्लाइड्सहरू सबै अपलोड गरिदिन्छु अब त्यहाँसम्म हेरौँ ल होइन यस्तै मात्रै त भन्नु है ओके कतिवटा उयो भयो हेर त त्यो आइलन्डमा कुन स्लाइड बाँकी छ हेरिहाल त
हजुरले मोनिटरी पोलिसी पछि अल भनेर हाल्नुभएको छ होइन?
मोनिटरी पोलिसी पछि
हजुर।
मोनिटरी पोलिसीको पछि हालिदिएको रहेछ। ओके,
अल भनेर
यहाँ
हाल्नुभएको
रहेछ।
छ नि, त्यो अल पछि केही छ भने चाहिँ हालिदिनुहोस् न, त्यति हो।
च्याप्टर 4 हालिदिएको रहेछ त्यहाँ त मैले त।
टाइल 7 मा छ।
ए ल भयो, म त्यसमा उयो अर्को एड गरिदिन्छु ल। यहाँ च्याप्टर
हुन्छ।
भनेर टाइल 7 मा अल भनेर चाहिँ, तर च्याप्टर 4 रहेछ कि त्यहाँ हेर्नु न, पछाडिको च्याप्टर हाल्छु मैले।
हजुर सर, च्याप्टर 4 रहेछ।
रहेछ भनेपछि स्टडी मटेरियल्स त्यसमा त टाइल्सहरू नै आएन त फेरि। टाइल 7 हो। म अब टाइल 7 मा देखि पछाडि 8 मा हाल्दै ल। मोनिटरी पोलिसी भनेर 4 5 त्यो remaining slides है त। ओके, choose 5 अहिलेको लास्टबाट हालिदिन्छु ल मैले त्यसबाट। मोनिटरी पोलिसी भनेपछि त्यो त हाले जस्तो लाग्यो, रिमुभ गर्नु पर्यो। ओके, एनिवे मैले यो सबै स्लाइड्सहरू राखिदिन्छु अनि रिमेनिङ दुईवटा भइसकेको छ ल 8 मा पनि टाइल्स 9 मा राखिदिन्छु अर्को Next. Okay. मैले यो पनि राखेँ है ल सबै राखेँ है त मैले अब एउटा छ एउटा अर्को पनि एड गरिदिहाल्नु पर्यो ल भयो अब यस्तै गरेर बिस्तारै यता
सर
भन्नु
हाम्रो प्रेजेन्टेसन र असाइनमेन्ट 1 ले कति मार्क्सको उस गर्छ
50 मार्क्स
50 दुईटा गरेर
अब 20 मार्क्सको तिमी उयो लिन्छ
20 मार्क्सको एमसिक्यू गर्ने हो
एमसिक्यू गर्नु यस है अनि त्यस पछाडि अनि रिटन एक्जामिनेसन रिमेनिङ 30 मार्क्सको 30%. बुझ्यो कुरा कस्तो मार्क्स आइरहेको छ तिमीलाई
यस सर
बुझ्नु
ठिकै छ
माइक्रोमा अलिक कम कम भएको कारण योपल्ट त छैन हुन्छ त ल ओके ल एनिवे थ्याङ्क यू यस्तै यस्तै गर है सबैजना बाई बाई है त ल
थ्याङ्क यू सर
बाई बाई गाइस सबैजना बाई
बाई सर हेभ अ नाइस डे
ओके थ्याङ्क यू सो मच एन्ड have a nice day to you guys सबैजना have a good day
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay, let's start with the attendance. Alex, Archana,
Present, ma'am.
Ashish,
Yes, ma'am.
Dipesh,
Yes, ma'am.
Even, Jeju, Marina, Ninju,
Ma'am.
Nishan, Ojaswi, Prakriti, Prasamsha, Praveen, Raman, Ratna, Rebison, Ritesh, Riwaz, Ronim, Sacham,
Yes, ma'am.
Salina,
Present, ma'am.
Sarishma, Shekhar,
Present, ma'am.
Smith,
Present, ma'am.
Swaroop, Yunesh.
Present, ma'am.
Did anybody miss their attendance? Okay, I see Ojaswi. Okay, so I guess that's with the attendance, right? And on last Saturday, I saw many of you have submitted your first draft, right? For many of you, I have even given you comments on what are the things you need to improve on for the second draft, right? If you have not checked that, please go to iLearn and please check it as soon as possible. So now after 2 weeks, now almost 2 weeks, on 14th of August, that is the date for your second draft submission. So whatever comments I have given you in iLearn, please go through them clearly. Okay, if you have any confusions, please ask me and submit the second draft by 14th of August. Okay, so please do that. And the next thing is regarding your assignment number 6 also. Have you been preparing for that or not? The group presentation. For your section B, your presentation dates are on 11th August and 17th of August. So that's the coming week. So please be prepared. If you have not checked or if you have not started doing anything for the presentation, go to iLearn, go to the table of when you have to present. Is it on 11th August or 17th of August? Who are your group members? Go through everything and please come prepared by 11th of August. all right? We'll have a group presentation similar to assignment number 5 as we had elevator pitch, remember? So it'll be similar like that, but in this assignment 6, the group presentation, it's not 1 minute. It's for at least 6 minutes, right? 6 to 7 minutes. So prepare accordingly. Now I think regarding the final assignment and assignment number 6, that's all the information I have to provide to you, right? So in the last class, we were doing regarding proposals, right? I think you're clear on that. Today we'll be moving on with resumes and CVs. So how many of you until now have written your resume or your CV, anything? Anybody who has written their resume or CV till today? Okay, Pravin has written. Where did you write it for? Pravin, are you there?
I'm asking
I
assignment
think he lost.
semester ma त्यसैमा
Oh, for which semester? Third one?
मैम थर्डमा क्या थर्डमै होला जस्तो लाग्थ्यो थर्डमा कि सेकेन्ड
Oh, okay, that's really nice. So that means not only you, all of you have written, isn't it?
यस मैम
Okay, that's nice. So here again, coming in the fourth semester, you again have a different topic named resumes and CVs under business communication, right? Because like before you communicate to somebody, before you get a job somewhere in some company or organization, before you start working, you have to provide your resumes, you have to provide your CVs based on the requirement of the company, right? So that is why resumes also come under business communication. This is the first step on how you can start something in your career field, right? So here, there are two words here on the screen, resumes and CVs. But we need to know that there is a slight difference between resumes and CVs. We take these two words synonymously. We think that yes, resumes and CVs, they are the same. There are no difference there. But looking at the definition and going into detail, there are a few differences we need to know, right? So that it'll be helpful for us later on. So let's move on with that. Now first here, looking at resumes, okay? So what resumes are, they're like they just encompass your name, your address, your details, what you have studied, if you have any experience, if you have skills, right? Those are the basic things what a resume holds. But what is the purpose? What is the objective of writing a resume then? Right? Of course, you can submit it anywhere. Maybe if you're going abroad for your further studies in any university, you might have to submit a resume there also for any kind of research. Or if you want a job, if you want to apply somewhere, you have to give these resumes, right? So there comes the difference between resume and CV. So what happens here is in a resume, we usually focus on what qualifications you have, what skills you have, okay, what you have studied in the past. What is your talent then? What can you do? Not about how much you have studied. Not only trying to define that yes, I have done my bachelor's degree from this college and my master's from this and another master's from here, not like that, but basically after doing your bachelor's and master's, what skills did you acquire then? What knowledge do you have? So basically in resume we focus on those things because a resume is given or a resume is submitted when you are applying for a job usually, not when you're applying for grants or you're applying in a university, not for study purpose, but for work purpose, for employment. So that is a resume here. And you can see on the screen, resume is a self-marketing tool that summarizes your qualifications, right? So your qualifications here doesn't only mean how much you have studied. Again, I'm repeating, what did you study and what skills did you acquire? What knowledge do you have after you studied there? So you are supposed to highlight those things. The second point here, resume should clearly and convincingly translate what you have done in the past into what you intend to do in the future. So after writing what your qualifications and skills are, it must show that I have this skill. So that is why if you hire me, I can give you these kinds of benefits. Your company will progress because I have these kinds of skills. I can help you. So you're supposed to show that, right? And in the third point, it's again mentioned, resume, it emphasizes skills, not how much we have studied. People don't see, even if you have done 5 masters, they will see what knowledge you gained, what skills you gained after doing those 5 masters, right? So basically, resume is focusing on skills and qualifications. Now here, resume should answer the question, why should the prospective employer hire me? So this particular line, why should he hire you, right? So you're not supposed to directly write that, you should hire me because this and this. It's not that. You show it in the resume through what you have done. When you write that, I have worked in this company, I have done this internship, I have worked in this project, it shows the employer that you have done many things. So this is what your resume should answer. The next point, it is used when applying for a position in industry, non-profit, and public sector. So basically, it's for a job, for employment, right? And the last point here, it is no longer than 2 pages. So a resume, remember, sometimes we think that if we write long, the employer will think that we have done many things, we have studied very much, we have much experience, but it's not like that. The more we write, the longer we write, the employer will think that this is very confusing, this is very lengthy, very monotonous. So it's always better to shorten your resume. The shorter, the better, right? So that's one thing regarding resume. The next one here is CV, right? So CV is different than resume because unlike resume, CVs, they focus on academic accomplishments. Means what have you studied then, right? In resume, what skills you have from those studies, right? But in CV, what is that you have studied? You have done bachelor's in maybe business administration, bachelor's in marketing, or bachelor's in what, and then master's in what. So they, in your CV, they will see those things. Now why do they need what you have studied, your course title and those things? Because you provide a CV not for a job, not for employment, but when you are applying for study purpose, for academics, for into universities, for fellowships, for different kinds of projects, for grants, maybe sometimes for university internships, right? You might have to do some research based on the university. So all those things is based on CV. So you will write a CV for those purposes, right? And the third point here, length depends upon experience and includes a complete list of publications and presentations. So in CV, what happens is resume, I told you that resume is very short. The shorter, the better. But CV, we cannot say the shorter, the better in CV. Because what happens here is in a CV, you can write how much ever experience or how much ever educational knowledge you have. See, because like different people have different kinds of experience. Some might have less, some might have more, some might have only very little academic accomplishment. Some other people might have long list of academic accomplishments. So it doesn't matter, right? How much ever you have, you just write that in the CV. So sometimes CV can be longer. It's not that we have to shorten the CV. It can be longer too, right? And in your CV, like when the person, not your employer, but maybe your university professor or those kinds of people, when they look at it, they go through everything, what you have done in the past. So that is why in a CV, it's always important to include each and every detail regarding your academics, right? And the last point here, CV always begins with education and can include name of advisor and dissertation title or summary. So what this means is, now if you have done some research when you're in college or before you joined college, you can include those things too. That will be a plus point for your academics. For example, now you're doing a proposal writing for your final assignment, right? So whatever your title is, later on, maybe like you want to go abroad and join some university, you can include that proposal title there. That when I was in bachelor's in the 4th semester, I did this kind of proposal or I did this research. So that will add to your CV. But you're not supposed to add the proposal or the research you did in your resume, because it doesn't matter. Resume is for job, but CV, it's for more academic accomplishments, right? So this is the basic difference between resume and CV. One is the length and one is where we submit it, right? So basically resume for job, for employment, CV for academic accomplishments. Now the next one here, there is another small difference. Now, even though we saw the detailed difference, right? We already know that resumes are for jobs, CVs are for universities, basically. But what usually people do is they just jumble it up. They don't care. They call CV a resume, they call resume a CV too. And it's okay. Doesn't matter. All right. But here in the first point, you can see what the US and Canada call a resume, most of the rest of the world call it a CV. So US and Canada, they call it resume for job application. But the rest of the world, for a job application, they call it CV. All right. It doesn't matter whatever you call, even though we know the exact definition. And the next point here, in our part of the world, in South Africa, India, Asia, in New Zealand and Australia, sometimes people call it resume. Some other people, they may call it CV. So it's interchangeable. It's synonymous. And it doesn't exactly matter whatever we call. Even if we say that we give a resume to the university, no one is going to question you. Or even if you say that I will give a CV for a job application, that's also fine, because people take it very lightly. People don't want to get into the confusing details of resume and CV. So these are normally in the society, these are synonymous and interchangeably used. All right. So any questions up to here? Okay. If not, let's move on. So now we have known what exactly resumes and CVs are, right? So let's move on to how to make your resume stand out. Now, just like Praveen mentioned, you have already written your resume before in the 3rd semester. That's really nice. But now here are some points on how you can focus on your resume and make your resume a special one, so that as soon as your employer or anyone who is looking at your resume reads whatever you have written, they will get persuaded instantly. They will get influenced, right? So here are a few points. Let's go through these. So the first one here is your online profile may matter the most. So online profile is those profile which is related to social media, right? So how can social media and your resume, what you write in a paper and print it or send it by email, be related? Right? How can you make your resume stand out through online profile? Isn't it? So what happens is normally everybody writes a resume, but how will it make a difference? Now let's say 23 of you are here in class today. And if I ask all 23 of you to write your resume, and tomorrow when you come to class, you all give me your resume too. Now imagine at that time, if everyone's, all 23 of your resume are in the same format, in the same structure, how should I react? Who should I choose? If I had to choose one person, if everyone's is the same thing, there is no difference at all, right? So that's the point here. If someone has something different, only then they will stand among the rest, right? Or let's say in class, if you have spiky hair, or if someone has colored hair, that person will stand out, right? So in a resume too, you have to mention your specialty, right? So how will you mention your specialty? How will you show that I am different and I'm special, I'm very unique? So how will we show that? So that can also be done through your online profile. Okay, so this basically is related to social media, just like your Facebook account, your Instagram account, your Twitter, your YouTube account, or your LinkedIn account, anything, any social media account which you use, that is your online profile, right? And it's very important while writing a resume too, because in today's world you have to mention your profile name too, your email address, maybe your LinkedIn account, right? You have to mention those things. So what happens is when you apply for a job, right, or when you're applying for a very huge, a very reputed company, you have to go through lots of phases before you get selected. After you submit your resume, of course, they might call you for an interview, and that interview is the first phase. See? So let's say you get selected in the first phase. If they are trying to hire you for a very special position, now they will do the research there, because they cannot just hire anybody out of anywhere. They have to know who you are. They have to know what special things you have, what you can give them, right? So what they'll do after you have applied is, after the first round of the interview, they will do your background research, right? They will look at your Facebook profile. They will check your Instagram account, your LinkedIn account, and let's say maybe you have kept photos of yourself, and in those photos you are partying very wildly. So when those employers look at those photos of you partying wildly, they will judge you accordingly, right? So this is a line nowadays. They look at your background, they look at your profiles, and they judge you accordingly. They look at your Facebook, they look at your Instagram, everything. And like I can see that as a HR manager, that I look at profiles of individuals before hiring them. We look at their social media, and in today's trending term, we can say that companies kind of stalk people before they hire you, so that they know everything about you, so that they are confirmed that you are the best person to select, right? And similarly, your LinkedIn account, that must also be up to date. We'll come to LinkedIn later on in the coming classes, right? And it's not that you'll make it once. You make your online profile once, your Facebook account or Insta account once, and you forget it. The last time you updated was 5 years back. If you keep it like that, again, they will judge you accordingly. They'll say that this person is not up to date. Why should we hire him or her? So your resume and your social media handles must always be up to date. Keep a good name in your Facebook or your Instagram, because like let's suppose in Facebook or sometimes in email addresses also, there are so many things, so many individuals who make mistakes while going into a professional field, right? So what happens is, there sometimes the individuals, those people who have applied for a job, their email addresses are upside down world at the rate gmail.com, my life rules at the rate hotmail, I am a gamer boy at the rate gmail.com. So these kinds of things are there, and when these things are there, please be sure that this will create a negative impact on the employer. Well, when I look at all the resumes, it has a negative impact on me, right? So we must always remember before submitting our resume, what is our online profile? What is our name in the online profile? What kind of pictures do we have there? Is all our details up to date or not? See? So those things are necessary to look at. Sometimes there are me astronaut to the moon @gmail.com. So these things will surely provide a negative impact on the employer, and that employer will not take you seriously. They might think that this person is not mature. This person is not professional. He or she cannot be hired by a company. So this is what means online profile may matter the most. Now, sometimes there are companies, there are organizations which don't look at your online profile at all. But in today's world, as the days are passing by and by, most companies will look at your online profile. They will check your Facebook, your Instagram account, and other things too. And apart from online profile, another thing can be after your resume gets selected, if they are impressed by your resume, if they're impressed by your online profile, some companies, usually banks, they come with you to check where you live also. So that thing also matters. See, so those are the things regarding online profile. Now the next one we need to consider is use keywords and optimize your profile for search. Now, this particular thing is also related to the first point, right? So what it means is use proper keywords. Just like in the previous example, after they go through your resume, they will go and search for your online profiles. They will go and search for your Facebook account, your Instagram account. They just want to scroll and see generally what type of person you are. So again, now just like the example I mentioned before, if someone's profile name is, let's say, their names like Rider Suraj, I am the king, social butterfly, there is Eminem Avinash, right? I've seen these kinds of things. There is like Nirvana Nishchal. So when you keep these kinds of name in your online profile, how will those people, how will the employers search for you? How will they know who you are in the online profile? So this will make them confused. And if they are not able to see where you are there online in Facebook, Insta, or other kinds of things, they will again think again whether to hire you or not. So this thing is also important, right? So please note that when you are making your online profile and when you are mentioning the name of your online profile in the resume itself, people will judge you accordingly. That is why it's always better to use your own name instead of changing names into fancy things, right? So always make it easy for the employer to search you in the online or the social media sites, right? So this is regarding keywords and your profile search. Now the third point regarding how to make your resume better, special, is show your creativity. Now, creativity doesn't mean like we will be drawing pictures and we'll make it very flashy and bright, colorful. It's not making drawings and coloring the resume page. It's making it attractive. It's making it eye-catchy. Not through drawings, but through the format, through the structure, the order of your resume. All right? So the formatting, the structure, it must not be cluttered. You must not make the employer confused. You must keep it in proper order so that as soon as the employer looks at that page of your resume, he or she is quite clear that, okay, this is the person's address. Here on top is the phone number. Here below, experience. You give a title headline of experience, maybe another headline there, education, another headline, skills. So everything is clearly seen, visible. It's not cluttered, not confusing. So that is what you need to do, and that is how you can show your creativity to grab the attention, okay, of the employers. Or else, like, it might be difficult for the employer to search for your detail. He or she might have to go and search, okay, where is the education, where is the experience? And if they do that, that is a big turn off for you. That might be something negative for you, right? So again, in creativity, we can say that creativity can be of two types for resumes. One thing is, again, it's offline creativity, that is based on the resume page, right? How you have structured, how you have put the order and stuff like that. And the next one is through online, through the social media again. Just like before, we already like mentioned, is your social media professional looking or not? Is your social media very immature? What kind of pictures have you put there? What kind of status have you put there? Right? So all those things can also be very, very impactful here. All right. Now the next one is action speaks louder than words. So we need to remember this then. What are your actions then? Actions doesn't mean that you just show pictures of you doing different kinds of things in the resume. It's not that. What are the things that you have done? You write about it. What are the things that you have achieved in many years? Maybe you won the best sportsman award in your college. Maybe when you were working in another company, you won the best employee award. So those are the things you have achieved. And when you write those, when you mention those in your resume, the employer will be influenced that you have achieved something in life. That means you have potentials, right? Or other things could be, have you done some research, or what other skills do you have? Research as in, just like I mentioned it before also, you can always mention, if you have made a proposal in semester 4, you can mention that in this year I did this proposal or I did this research. Or regarding skills, you can mention that I have computer skills, I have problem solving skills, I have communication skills. So these things are what will describe you, right? So always action speaks louder than words. They will see what you have written and they will judge you accordingly. If you don't mention what skills you have, they will never be able to know. So always mention, always be clear of what to write and what not to write. Okay. So the next one here, the fifth one is tailor for the job. Now, tailor for the job doesn't mean go to a tailor, right? Tailoring means customizing. So your resume, the same resume might not be appropriate for all the jobs. Suppose you're applying for two jobs. In company A, you apply for marketing. In company B, you apply for sales. So when you give a resume in company A, you should tailor your resume, means you should customize your resume and you should say that what things you have done regarding in the marketing sector. What are your skills in the marketing sector? After you submit it to company A, you can't submit the same resume to company B where you're applying for sales. In the second resume, you have to write what skills you have regarding sales in the sales sector, right? So that is what tailoring means, right? So wherever you are applying, you write accordingly. What is related, you write that. And the other thing regarding tailor for the job is you say what you have achieved, what only you have done, something very different than others. Maybe let's say in the previous job, you achieved a target in 1 month, right? The boss told you that you do this work in 1 month, but you finish that work in 10 days. So that is also your achievement. And nobody has done that. Only you have done that. So that is tailoring, customizing, right? Nobody else can write that. Only you can write it because you have done it. So that will also influence the employer. So whatever you write while tailoring, while customizing your resume, it is based on the requirement of the job, right? So you can't write something very different from the post you are applying for. Whatever you're applying for, it must be related there. Okay. The next one is less is more. So while writing resume, always remember less is more. Mentioned it before also. You don't have to write long pages. You don't have to write 10 or 12 pages of CV or resume, so that the more we write, the more influential it is. It's not like that. The more shorter you write, the more influence they will become. So always remember to write a crisp kind of resume, 1 or 2 pages. Sometimes if you have to write more things, it might go to 3 pages maximum, right? But always remember, when there are long pages, employers will not like reading your resume. They will think that it's a waste of time, and the maximum time any employer will give to your resume or CV is seconds, 10 seconds or 30 seconds or so. They will not go through line by line, because it's not only your resume that they got. They will have hundreds and 200s of resumes at their office. So it's not possible to go through everything from your resume. So remember, you write less, you write short, crisp, but very effective, right? So that is what means less is more. Don't write more, don't write very lengthy resume and then confuse the decision maker. So that is what means less is more. Now the next one here is no typos allowed. So obviously typos are not allowed anywhere in business communication, right? Typos are usually typing mistakes. So we might sometimes, we mistakenly just make spelling mistakes, right? We sometimes type our names, our spelling wrong. Sometimes we make a difference in font size, font type. So these things are typos. And when the employer or when the HR manager, they look at these kinds of mistakes, they think that this person, like, he didn't even revise. So like if we hire him, later on, he will not be revising any work he does. So that impact will be there again. So that is why always recheck, always revise. And if that is not enough, ask someone else to read out before you submit your resume, so that the other person can see and tell you if there are any mistakes, anything to remove, or anything to add up. So remember that also, no typos allowed. The eighth one is focus on qualities and skills. So just like I mentioned in number 5, tailor for the job, right? Focusing on qualities and skills are also kind of similar. So let's say when an employee looks at your resume, he or she might be looking at, okay, is this person perfect for the job or not? He or she will be looking at your skills and qualities. What skills does he or she have? Are these skills enough for the job or not? Now let's say you are applying for a sales job and you write that I am a very introvert person. Now what will that employer think? Of course, you are giving that message that I am very shy, I am very introvert, I can't talk. So will you get selected for a sales job for being introvert? Obviously not. That employer will not select you. That is why you need to remember what you have to write and what not, right? So maybe like for the sales job, you write that I have very good speaking skills. I am very good in communications. So you will be selected instantly if you write that. So qualities and skills should be considered vastly here. Okay. So now these are the 8 things we need to consider so that your resume will be special. Your resume will be different than others, right? So please remember these 8 things. The next one here are major sections of a resume. Now, because you've already written a resume before, it'll be easier for you. But these are the basic things you're supposed to include while writing a resume or a CV, because those words are synonymously taken at our place, right? So your name must be there. Along with names, sometimes they might ask for a photograph too. The second one is your contact information. Your address. Now, if you have a permanent address and a temporary address, mention both. Your phone number, if you have cell phone, and your landline too, mention both the numbers. Your email address, your LinkedIn account, and sometimes the company might ask, provide your social media accounts too, your Facebook name, Facebook link, right? So those things might also be there. The third one is resume objective or resume introduction. So it's not necessary all the time regarding resume objective, but it's like a short summary, 2-line summary on you are telling them why you want to join their company, why you want that job. So it's a one-liner or two-liner kind of summary or introduction where you tell them that I want to join because I have this potentials, I can give you these kinds of things. So you tell them what skills you have and what you can do for them, right? The fourth one is work experience. You tell them where you have worked before, in what position, what you did before. And sometimes, like because you are students right now, some of you might not have work experiences till now. You might have only been students till now. So what you can do there is you can write about your internships too, if you have done any. That will also be counted under work experience. So work experience is not only necessary that you write about paid work. Unpaid or voluntary work experience can also be written there. The next one is education, on like what education you have, how much you have studied, right? I'll show you how we are supposed to mention those. The next one is skills or additional skills. What are the skills you acquire? Mention those. And the last one is accomplishments and awards. Maybe like you have won some awards, Best Salesman of the Year 2020, or Best Marketing Person 2016, Best Monthly Employee. So these are small awards, but when you mention these in the resume, they create huge impacts. So if you have those kinds of accomplishments, those kinds of awards, mention those too. And one more thing which I've not mentioned here, okay, or and sometimes they might be important, those are references. Now, how will we mention references in resume? References are for only proposals, reports, books, right? But here in resume, references are different. Okay, so references are, let's say, if you are applying for a bank, you might write reference as your college teacher. So the bank, if you give the number of the college teacher, the bank will call that teacher and ask, how is this person? Does this person has potential? How was he or she in college? Was he or she dedicated or not? So these kinds of things they can ask, right? So always mention the names and numbers of those people who you really trust. Means your college teacher, or if you had a previous job, your boss from the previous job, those are your references in the resume, right? So mention those two if you have. Now the next one, let's go to the formats of resume now. There are three particular formats for resume writing, all right? Based on the formats later on, whichever you want to write, whichever you want to select, you can do so. So the three are reverse chronological, functional, and combinational, right? Three types. Let me show them to you. Okay, here. So if you look at the very left side, it's only written chronological there, right? So what do we mean by chronological first? It means step by step, right? One after the other. So you write all your details one by one, step after step. Now, when you write step after step, what you do is in chronological, we usually write in 2001, I was in school maybe. In 2004, I was in college maybe. In 2005, I was working here. In 2010, I was working in another company. In 2020, I opened my own company. So that is chronological order according to the year from 2001 to 2020, whatever you did in a serial order. But here, reverse chronological means you make it opposite. You write the most recent one, maybe 2020, on the very top. So you go from the present time to the past time, right? From now to before. So you show what you have done in the recent time in the very beginning. Then after you write what you had done before that, And similarly, you just go on, just like 2020, I opened my business. In 2015, I was working in this company. In 2010, I was working in another company. So you go like that in reverse order, right? So that is how you arrange a reverse chronological resume format, right? And usually, like, what happens, what we write in reverse chronological order is we usually mention recent experiences, we mention our education, right? And we focus on employment history mostly. Where have you worked and when? So if you look at the left picture, left page there on the screen, you can see employment history is focused. So here in reverse chronological type of resume, what we focus on is we first give them experience, where we have worked, when we have worked, what we have worked. And later on, below you can give your education and other qualifications, right? So in reverse chronological, please remember, we mention specially about our experiences, right? The next one, the middle one, is functional resume format. So this is a bit different than reverse chronological. So functional is basically about your experiences and your skills, not what you have worked, where you have worked, right? So functional is what are the skills you have, what are the experiences you have. Maybe like you have so much experience of doing your research, you mention those things specially. You have so many skills, communication skills, computer skills, problem solving skills, diplomatic skills, many skills. Have taken trainings, maybe online courses. So you mention all those while writing a functional kind of resume, right? Or let's say like sometimes you worked at ABC company, okay, and you mention that your experience, that is, right, I worked at ABC company from 2001 to 2005. So after that, you don't write anything. From 2005 to 2021, you have not mentioned anything where you worked. So at that time, to cover up, what you can write is, from 2006 to 2021, I was taking some class. I was trying to develop skills. So you mention those skills. Maybe you were taking online trainings, right? So you mention those kinds of trainings and skills here in functional kind of resume. And the third one on the right, the name is combination, right? So it's a combination of both reverse chronological and functional kind of resume, right? So here you include both your work experience, your skills, and your employment history. Just like you can see there highlighted on the very right page, there are core qualifications and there are employment history too, right? So mixing both chronological and functional, you include your skills, you write an employment history both, okay? So you do that, and just below combination you can see 3 points there: mix of chronological resume and a functional resume. That's already understandable. Highlight relevant skills while providing chronological work history. Emphasize what makes you the best fit for the job, right? So what you're supposed to do is, first, we need to focus on chronological there while we are writing combinational too, right? Chronological comes in work, where you have worked, your work history, and that work history must be related to the job you are applying for. Maybe there's a vacancy for a salesperson and you have given your resume with sales experience. So if that employer looks at your sales experience, that person will obviously give you an opportunity because you have good sales experience, right? So that is related to chronological. You write that too in combinational. And relating to functional and skills, what you write it, what you just highlight what are the skills you have, what are the different kinds of experiences or trainings you have taken relating to the job again. So you mention that too. So combination is a mixture, and basically like most resumes are combinational. in Nepal, when we submit resumes for job or for universities, they are combinational because we mention both experiences, employment history, our skills, qualifications, everything, right? So these are the 3 types of resume. You can select any one you like, or if you want to focus on your employment history, you can select chronological. If you want to focus on functional, depends, right? Whatever you want to select according. I'm sorry. Okay, the next type here, okay, this is the same thing, types of resume: reverse chronological, functional, and combinational. Let me show you some examples. Now here, chronological resume format, right? So in this particular thing, you can see Janet, there is the name and contact information on the very top. After that, she has given a summary, a 2-liner objective of herself and what she wants to do relating to the job she has applied for. All right, so what she has done here is she has given her professional history first, her work experience. So if you can look at that clearly, okay, under professional history, first she mentioned from July 2017 to present. That means the most recent thing, latest thing, what she has done. Before that, from August 2015 to July 2017, she had worked in the same for the same post, similar kind of post as office assistant, right? So what I mean here is, if you look at this carefully again, what she has done in the recent time, she mentioned it above, and what she had done before that, she mentioned it below, right? So this is how it is done, right? And remember that while we are writing a resume, do not show a gap as much as possible, because when you show a gap, when the employer sees that, okay, in 2017 this person worked somewhere, and 2018, 19, 20 nothing is done, nothing is shown here, so that person will ask you, what were you doing for these 3 years? Were you searching for a job? And when this person asks you this, he or she will try to dig up more things, try to dig more and more details from you. See, so never show a gap. At least show, if you are not working somewhere, at least show that you were trying to gain some skills, you were trying to take some online courses. So those things can be done there without showing any gap, right? Now the next one is functional resume. So in functional, we don't have much experience, but we show skills, right? So here in functional, you can see on the left side, there's contact information, there is an experience section, and very little experience section, a small box only. And this one is not good. This box is not good because this person has not mentioned the date. He has worked in Riverside restaurant, but when? He has not mentioned the year. He has also worked in Whispering Wine Bar and Grill, but when? We don't know. So the employer will obviously ask, when did you work? What was the time frame of working here? So that will be asked there. But what this person has done is focused more on skills. Now look at the right side, there is a big box, huge box of skills section, right? There is salesmanship, technical skills, interpersonal skills, and this person has explained everything. What are the skills he has, right? So this will create an impact on the employer accordingly. Okay, so this is a very creative way of writing. The next one here is combinational resume. This is again the mixture of both experiences, your work history, and your skills, right? So again, there is a short summary given by Alex Lee, and below you can see skills, their abilities, professional experiences. There comes education and awards. And if you look at the professional experience again, there's L&O Financial Sales Associate, August 2016 to present. That is the latest. He has been working there. Before that, he was an intern in the same company, right? So it works in this way, right? So these were the 3 types of resumes I wanted to show you. Now the next thing, let's discuss this. how to make the best resume. Now we have already gone how to make our resume special, right? But these are the few more things we need to consider and we need to remember. So the first point here is use keywords customized for the job. Now we have already discussed regarding customizing things, right? Suppose you are writing the summary. Let's say here, this person, Alex Lee, in this particular combination resume, what he has customized is in the summary section, a strategically minded and hardworking sales associate with 2 years of experience, increasing sales and increasing brand awareness. He has customized the words. He bought things about sales here. He defined about himself. And he also mentioned that he has these skills. And he did that in only 2 lines, right? So that is customizing. The second point here is use standard section headlines. So in this particular resume also, there are different headlines. There's the summary, there's skills, professional history, there's educational history, awards, extracurricular activities, right? So try to give different headings. Don't just make everything in once, or don't just write everything in one single paragraph. That will not be attractive and you might not get selected, right? So give proper structure, proper order, proper heading. The third one is don't let your CV get too fancy. So this means that don't make it too colorful. Don't make it like a rainbow or don't make it like a butterfly. Because if you make it so, the employer will get focused on the color, will get focused on the design, the fancy thing there, and will forget about what you have written on the resume. So keep it simple, right? The fourth one is check your spelling and grammar. This must be done every time, not only in a resume, but in all kinds of writing, right? And the fifth one is use full acronyms and titles. Means do not use acronyms at all. Suppose like, let's say in the previous slide, previous resume here, if you see in professional history, there is L&O Financial. Let's say it's only LO Financial. Now, different people might think LO is different things. For us, LO, what I might think right now is it's learning objective. Some other person, they might think, let's say Lumbini operational. But here, I don't think so. It's either one, right? So that is why don't give these kinds of acronyms. Write full forms, it means. Because if you don't write full forms and if you only give acronyms, people or the employer, the person who is hiring you, that person will get confused. And don't make any kind of confusion there. That is why write full forms for everything. Now the next one here is resume tips for business sector. Now we always have to add something, make something better for the business sector, right? So the first point here is focus on a particular area, finance, marketing, human resource, and express long-term interest in management. So focus on one particular area means that in your CV, you must not show that you are jack of all, master of none. You show only one area, only one interest. Don't say that I worked in finance for 1 year and another year I worked in HR, another year I worked as marketing manager. This seems that the person is not stable anywhere. The person has worked 1 year each in various sectors. So that person is not stable, not only in his job, but in his entire career line. So that is why we must
Excuse me,
not
ma'am.
show that. Yes, Pravin?
Ma'am, but in consulting businesses, ma'am, the department त फरक फरक गइरहेको हुन्छ नि, रोटेसन भइरहेको हुन्छ होइन र? अनि त्यसको
No,
त
no, I
सिभी हेर्न
mean,
थाल्यो भने त फेरि मान्छे नै यो त के हो त ठुकिन्छ नि कतिपयहरू चाहिँ
yes,
इन
yes, but
कन्सल्टिङ बेसिकली
sometimes
मेनली इन कन्सल्टिङ फर्म बेसिकली बाहिरतिरको चाहिँ
yes, that's true. But this is just an example. But some people, what they write is, let's say in teaching field, okay, some people might say, in the first year, I taught mathematics. In the second year, I taught English. In the third year, I taught Nepali. So that's a very different kind of thing, right? So you're going to you're jumping from one sector to another sector. It means that. So when different people look at this, they will see that, no, you know everything, but you're not perfect in any one. You're good in every, but perfect in none. So that might give a concept like that. So I mean that if you have done, like, of course, you can mention whatever you have done, but I don't think so any person would just jump from different sectors, right? They will, of course, focus on one particular thing. So when you jump from different sectors, like just like I mentioned maths, and then you go to Nepali, you go to maybe social studies after that. After that, let's say you become a gymnastic teacher. So that those are various different sectors, and people will not trust you for that. Okay. So remember that thing
It
too.
means that it is
It's
not
not
apply
bad. Mhm.
applicable
Yes.
for consulting firm होइन कन्सल्टिङतिर लागेकोहरूको त
No, not exactly. This is just an example. I'm not telling that everyone will do this, but there are some points, like some chances where individuals forget. They start mentioning what they have done in the past too. And because of that, it'll create again a negative impact, right? So that's just a thing we need to remember. Sometimes, like, you might not do that, but when your friends or when your relatives, they are providing, they're giving a CV or resume, they might make that mistake. So at that time, you might always be helpful, right? So that is why we need to remember that too. We must focus on one particular area, right? Sometimes, like, people might be, I studied science in +2, and then for my bachelor's I moved to management. So that is again changing the entire sector. So at that time, some employers, they will not trust you. Some might think that yes, you have great potentials, but all the employers will not be the same. So that is the time where we need to be careful, right?
म्याम बट फेरि
Yes,
त्यसैमा
Praveen.
फेरि त्यो अघि कुरा आयो क्या म्याम इन्जिनियरहरूको त फेरि
Mhm.
कतिले साइन्स लिएर इन्जिनियर गर्छ अनि पछि एमबिए हानिदिन्छ नि फेरि
Yes, so it might be difficult for them, not in every company, but some people, okay, some employers, some HR managers, they might take it skeptically. Some people might think that, wow, you have done wonderful thing in different sectors. So I'm just telling that we need to know how the employer is. See, so that might matter. Now, if you give, like, if you give me a resume of different kinds of sectors, well, I might be impressed because I might think that yes, this person has done so many things. This person knows, has much knowledge about different sectors. It's a good thing. But if there is one company which needs you only being focused on one particular area, that company will not trust you because you are jumping, your mind is jumping, your interests are jumping from one to another. So it also depends on the HR manager, the employer, and the company, right? So is this clear, Pravin?
यस म्याम
Right? It's a nice thing you mentioned, but like we never know who the employer is, how he or she is. That's why we need to be careful, right? And the next thing is like express long-term interest. Now, if you're hired, you have to show them that you are a long-term asset for them. You can't give them the vibe that, yes, I will come here, I will work for 6 months, and I will leave. If that happens, why would they hire you? You have to show them that after you hire me, I will be a very good employee. I will stick with you. I will stick with your company for a long time. Because what companies do is after they hire people, they have to give them trainings, maybe they have to give them a space in the office. They have to provide so much for the new employee, right? So if the employee leaves in 6 months or 1 year, that will be a waste of effort, waste of space, waste of training. Maybe they have provided the company attire, waste of that. So usually companies, employers, they look for long-term employees, right? Another thing is that, and the next one here is business employers are interested in results. Pravin, can you please mute yourself?
यस म्याम
Okay, thank you. Be sure your resume highlights specific achievements, time when you exceeded goals. So this means that mention where you have worked, what you have done, what are the awards you got, what are the achievements you got. And awards and achievements doesn't only mean that you get awarded with one shield or one certificate. It's not that. You can write about other achievements too. Just like in the previous company, let's say you had to sell 100 diaries in 3 months. But what you did was you sold 100 diaries in 1 month. So that is also one achievement which you can mention. That will be a plus point for you in the resume. So you can do those things also, right? And quantify your experience. Do not write that because of me, the company's sales increased. So how much did it increase? Maybe it increased by 10%, maybe increased by 1% or 100%. They don't know. So that is why give them exact facts and figures, right? That because of me, the company's sales increased by 90%. Try to influence them, try to persuade them by giving them exact facts and figures, right? Now the next point here, okay, here it was just increased by 30% there, right? The next point is show accomplishments in previous experience. Means you write that I received this award, best employee award, or in college I was best sportsman. So always mention those things, whatever you have got, right? The next one is stress tangible leadership experience while listing extracurricular involvement. Maybe you were involved in extracurricular activities in the previous organization, previous company. Maybe it was a bank, but you handled a blood donation program. Maybe you created some other programs for all the employees. And usually in banks, there are Toastmasters, right? Toastmaster clubs. Maybe you are part of the Toastmaster club. So you include those things too. You write your leadership qualities also. And the last one in this page is list transferable skills such as time management, conflict resolution, decision making. So these are the skills. You can say that I can also teach these skills to my colleagues. If you hire me, I have problem solving skills. I can face many challenges quickly. I am good at decision making. And not only myself, I can also take along, or I can unify the entire company. I can bring progress. I can teach others too. So when you write that, they will again get influenced by you, right? So these are the things we need to consider. Now here, let's look at some resume samples. Now this one, now this is one particular format, okay? And format doesn't mean like the chronological format and stuff. I'm talking about how it is structured. Here on top, you can see professional profile. On left, you can see experience, skills. On right, there is education, project, and volunteer. So it is not necessary that you write experience on left and education on right always. However you want to write, you can write it in that way. Just remember that you need to be influential and you need to grab the attention of the employer, right? So you need to write in such a way. Now this is one. The next one here is here. Emma Hayes. Now on top, she has given her information, her details. Below, there are work experience, right? On right, there are her skills, technical skills. So you can write it in this way too. And the next one here, John Smith. He has written in another way. He has not divided the page, right? There are his experience, education, there are his skills. So these things can be done according to the individual. It's not necessary that, yes, we have to write experience on top or you have to write education on bottom. If you want to mention education on top, if you want to highlight your education, you can always do that. Doesn't matter. And then the formats, the three types of formats we went through, reverse, functional, and combinational. Those are, let's say, formats for books, all right? In real life, we can always customize them. Means we can put in any order we like, any order we think that how we could be influential. For you, like if you put your experience on top, if you think that if I put experience on top, I will be influential. Maybe for me, if I put education on top, I will be influential. So it depends from individuals to individuals, right? It's different for everybody. So you can choose any format Any kind of structure you want, it's just that you need to be persuasive and grab the attention of the employer, right? Now the next one here is CV examples, CV samples. CVs are usually for universities, when you're applying for research, when you're applying for grants, fellowships, right? So here in the employment history, this is just a sample. There are 3 different sections because maybe he's trying to connect or he's trying to apply for something which is related to his employment history. That is why he has focused on that. Now, if the thing he was trying to apply for was related to his education, he would have highlighted education. So it depends on that, right? The next one here, again, another kind of format. Now here they have also put their pictures, their contact details, their profile, and they have mentioned their experience, their education. Now this particular page, this is just the front page, this CVs. Now there might be other pages too because it ends in education 2012 to 2014. So there are other pages too. I've just mentioned the first page here. Okay. And the next one here, this is another kind of format again. On top, she has put her photograph and a small summary. And below, she has mentioned her education, skills, her experiences. So these are different kinds of structures you can choose from, or you can create your own also, right? And remember, when you're giving a resume, usually now there are only few times when we have to apply for universities or for fellowships. Sometimes we might not have to. So that is why it's always for job, it's always for employment we have to apply for. So it goes to resume again, right? Now let me show you the last picture here. Now on the left and right, you can see 2 different kind of resume, but they are the same. The content is the same. Just the structure, the order, formatting, color, only that is different. And see what difference it makes through structure also, right? On the left side and on the right side, both are written in the same way. Everything is the same. But after he mentioned, after he gave different titles, after he put some colors, managed the lines, managed sections, it became more attractive. So if we provide both of these kinds of resume, both of these resumes to one employer, of course that employer will select the second one because he'll not be even reading the left side, right? So this is the huge impact which resumes can create. Okay, and of course the content part is there. It differs from each individual. Everyone's is the different content what did I say? Everyone's is the different kind of whatever you write there, right? Content. Okay, so this is regarding all regarding resumes and CVs. Now after this, what we'll be doing in the next class, that's tomorrow, is cover letters. Because along with CVs, along with resumes, you are most of the time asked for cover letters too. Means a small letter, a 1 or 2 page letter on why you want to apply. You write that, yes, I am this and this, please take me, I want this job. You have to select me because you give reasons like that. So regarding cover letters, and we have other things too, like portfolios, we have interviews. So we'll be discussing those tomorrow. Okay, so regarding resumes on whatever we've discussed today, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. Okay, before you leave, let me go to the attendance once more. Jeju, not here. Prasamsha, Prasamsha, are you there? All right, so the rest of you are marked present. I'll see you all tomorrow, okay, and we shall continue. And please remember to start preparing for your final assignment for the second draft and your assignment number 6 also, okay. All right, so thank you, class. Have a good day. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Ma'am, Prasamsa is present.
Okay, thank you, Archana. Yes, Prasamsha, I've marked you present. Dipesh, what happened? Do you have anything to say?
I
Yes,
think they are
Dipesh.
confused about their attendance, ma'am.
No, I've already mentioned the rest of you are marked present. Only Jeju is absent today.
Okay.
Okay.